What is going on, YouTube? I'm going to show you guys today how to craft 3 different levels of body armors. The first level is going to be the beginner level, and it's only going to cost like 40 exiles to craft. The second level is going to be the intermediate level or the mid level, and that's going to cost you less than a div to craft. And then the final level I'm going to show you is the expert level, which is going to be the nutso crafts that are going to cost like 30 plus div, and it's going to result in a body armor that's going to be worth like 60 div all the way up to like 100 div if you get a little bit lucky. Cool, let's get right into it. So let's start off with the first level, the entry level beginner gear that's going to only cost you around 40 or 50 X to make. It's primarily going to utilize the Recombinator as the main method of getting your first 2 affixes. In case you don't know, the Recombinator in POE2 is not nearly as strong as POE1, but it's still an incredibly powerful mechanic, especially since the order artifacts, the material that you need in order to craft on them, are like 1 to 140. It is incredibly cheap right now to recom. It's virtually 0 cost. So you can pretty much recom all the body armors you want at just the cost of the bases that you find. Now, on top of that, the bases that you find are also incredibly cheap. So this is tier 1 percentage ES, and then this is tier 1 flat hybrid ES. These each cost 1 exalt. So this is the one I just bought right here. If I scroll through here for like 2 seconds, I'll be able to find another one quite easily. Another tier 1 percentage ES. They're incredibly easy to find. Higher eye level, the better. But like as long as they're above like 75, that's totally acceptable. I'll also try and link this filter into the description if you want to try this yourself. So now that we have these bases, what do we do? It's really simple. We just recom them. So as you can see here, with tier 1 flats and tier 1 percentages, it's a 19.8% chance to recom. That means on average, it's going to take us 5 attempts in order for this recom to be successful. And when the recom is successful, what is actually going to happen? Then we're going to have tier 1 flat and tier 1 percentage evasion and energy shield, which means we're off to an amazing start for our body armor. Now, you could theoretically use an Omen of Recombination to double the odds of hitting this, but the truth of the matter is those are like 20 exalts, and these are only like 2 exalts, so there's really no point in doing that. You just wanted to do more reps. One thing you can also do is to skip the animation, you can just exit and then open it up again to skip the long ass recom animation. If you're gonna be doing this a lot, I highly recommend that you do this. It'll just save you a lot of time in the long run. Okie dokie, so we just bought 6 more bases of each since we missed there. It's a 1 in 5. We tried 6 times. If we didn't hit, that's gonna happen. We're gonna get a little unlucky some of the time. But we just bought 6 more bases of each type so that we can do 6 more rolls. We had to actually spend 2 exalts for the flat bases and still 1 exalt for the percentage bases. I don't know if that's going to change for you guys or not, but let's see if we can hit one. Awesome. I mean, that's just how it is. Like, that's just RNG. We go 1 for 10 dry and then we hit 2 back to back. That is just the way the cookie crumbles. Okay, so from here, what we do, we're just going to desecrate the final mod on. So we go here, 2 ancient ribs. Ancient ribs are less than an exalt each, and then we're going to need 2 sinistral necromancies. I would say on average, you're going to want to do this a few times. So we are just going to desecrate this rib on, and we are going to pray one of 2 things. We want this mod the most. It's a combination of flat and percentage, EVES, and this is the best 3rd mod we can get. Alternatively, if we get a high roll of this, we can settle on that as well. The 3rd option is if you get high spirit here, you could theoretically just settle for this, sell this for a profit, or use it yourself. The spirit is a very valuable stat, and we have the 2 best stats besides that, okay? But spirit is a very, very low likelihood of happening. Now, we could use an echo here, but they are quite expensive. There's 70 exalts. And keep in mind, these cost at most 4x per attempt, 5 attempts in order to hit 1 on average. So 20 exalts should be the most cost that you should take to get here. So I don't really think it makes sense to use the echo unless you really want to save time. From a cost benefit analysis, I would just say you can just raw dog slam these and then YOLO open them for the prefix specifically. So we reveal, and we got this mod. That's not great, but not the worst thing ever. And then we got this mod. It's a low roll of it, but at the same time, as you'll see, a low roll of this mod is still probably going to be better than a high roll of that mod. So this is tier 2 percentage life, percentage hybrid life, and as you see, it's 813, 310. This is tier 4 of the hybrid roll, and it's around the same. So tier 2 is equal to tier 4. If we had gotten tier 2 of this, it would be even better. But regardless, we are in a position now where we have a pretty good body armor. What I recommend that you do from this point is pretty dench. It's old classic POE2. We are just going to slam 2 greater exalts onto this, onto each one, and we're just going to pray we hit something good, like resistances, deflection, whatever. Boom, boom. with a greater exalt is going to put 2 mods on, and then we're just going to top it off with 1 more greater exalt on each. Awesome. So we actually got pretty lucky here. We hit tier 3 int and then tier 2 lightning res. This is very, very solid. So we have a body armor now that once we socket them are going to look quite nice. If you're going to sell this, you don't need to quality them because the trade site will automatically factor in the quality. You do need to socket them and put greater iron runes in because the trade site cannot calculate that itself. Pre-quality, these are very nice. After quality, as you see, it'll show this is 1124 evasion and 432 energy shield. This one is 1118 evasion and 427 energy shield. So if you do plan on selling them, you don't have to put any quality on or worry about that at all. Oh, sorry, we should put in like 1100 here. And then like 420. That sounds good enough to me. Plus the int. And as you can see, this one is 1 annulment. All the other ones on the market are close to 2. Perhaps you could sell this for like 100 exalts. And again, total cost for this body armor is just the recom, which is like 20 exalts. To get this third prefix here, the Sinistral Necromancy Rib, this costs 10 exalts for that. These final 3 mods that we slammed on only cost us around 7 exalts. 2 for the greater exalts, and then 1 for the omen of greater exaltation. It's the same thing for this as well. So these only really cost us like 30 or 40 exalts to create, and we can sell them for 1 annulment, which is 130 exalts. The profit is definitely there, but at the same time, this is just something that's really nice for you to use yourself. We have 1124 evasion rating, 432 energy shield, 39 all res, as well as some int on the armor. Again, 40 exalts to make, and I think you cannot be upset having this body armor for such a low price. So what do we do for the intermediate step? That is going to actually start with the exact same shit. So let's go buy some more bases. Okay, cool. So 3 more minutes or 5 minutes, however long it took us. It was really quite short. We bought 12 more sets of each. And I'm not sure what it is with the flat ones, but the flat ones were 2 exalts each still. And then the percentage ones were still just 1 exalt. But we're going to be doing the same shit to get the bases here. We have 2 body armor bases now. We went well over the odds to hit, but we have them now, so no complaints. What we're going to do for the mid-tier body armor, we are going to want to bring out 2 more greater exalts, and then we're going to bring out 2 homogenizing omens of exaltation, 2 sinistral exaltations as well. And essentially what we're going to do here is with the greater exalt and the homogenizing exalt, we essentially have only 2 affixes we can roll. It's either the hybrid percentage life roll, or it's going to be the insanely good hybrid flat percentage defense roll. It's going to be guaranteed at least tier 3 of both. So essentially we have a 50-50 between getting a really good roll of just hybrid and a really good roll of percentage life. Ideally, we want the hybrid, not the life roll. Depending on what we get, we can make a decision off of that. So boom, we hit tier 2. That's very, very good. Tier 2 of the hybrid roll. And then over here, we hit tier 2 of the hybrid life roll. So as you can see here, the hybrid flat percentage roll is significantly better than the hybrid percentage life roll. This is 50 EV more than this one and 30 ES. So it's pretty significant, but you can theoretically craft on both of them. If you are to hit hybrid life, even if it's tier 2, you probably want to go back to the first step of crafting, and it might not actually be worth to spend more money on this. But this, however, is phenomenal. Absolutely amazing here. So what I recommend that you do is we grab a preserved rib again, and then this time we're actually going to grab an echo. So we are going to preserve rib, the good one, and we are going to come back to the Well of Souls. Now we're going to want to activate the echo, and we are going to hunt for 1 more good defensive stat. Ideally here, we want to find a resistance stat. Low roll resistance is not ideal, but here we actually got gain as deflection. This is also really good. This is one of the best stats that we can get, but ideally it's a high roll of resistance stats, but I'll explain in a second. This is also an acceptable roll. With this defensive stat, we can't do what we want to do, which is homogenizing double exalt again. But if we were theoretically to have rolled any sort of resistance, we could then homogenizing double exalt and pray for another resistance or 2. On top of that, have a chance of hitting deflection. Is we have defense from our prefixes, and then we also have cold, fire, lightning. We have all the elemental rolls and the resistance rolls, so even chaos as well. So as you can see here, if we have a resistance on, we have a pretty significant chance of rolling another res, a 50-50 between these 2 for deflection, which is really good. We also add on some shitter rolls, but the weighting for this is quite low. We only hit 1 of these 16.67% of the time. So getting resistance here is best case scenario, but getting deflection here is also very nice. If we get resistance, we just homogenizing double greater exalt one more time and pray for resistances plus perhaps deflection rating. We did not get that. We're just going to do the same thing as before, and we are going to just moment of greater exaltation with a greater exalt orb and pray we get lucky. Not bad at all. It's not the best case scenario, but this is definitely acceptable. We now have tier 3 deflection, which is very good. Tier 4 resistance. As for startup energy shield recharge is actually not bad. This league is a lot better because there's no way to actually regenerate our energy shield now. Like without just like naturally starting the recharge of our energy shield, there's no more eternal youth, so we can't flask up our energy shield or anything like that. So the value of this stat actually increased like 5x. So we are definitely not upset about this craft at all. If we socket this, throw in a rune here, and then take a look at the value of these stats on trade. The way you price check this is you say, okay, our base stat value is similar. This is definitely better, but ours is similar, right? Ours is only a little bit worse. We're only 30 evasion worse on the prefixes, but we're significantly worse off on the suffixes. This has 20 more res than us, and also it has 1 tier higher of deflection rating. What we could then do is we could just lower the cutoff for evasion to get like a better idea. Something like that. No. Okay. Ours isn't actually as good as this one. Ours has 5% less this, 20% less resistance, 40 less EV, 5 less energy shield. I would be happy to say that our armor is actually worth closer to like 5 div. So what we actually do for this other body armor, which I forgot about, we slam a Omen of Greater Exaltation, Greater Exalt Orb here. And we hit tier 3 lightning and stun threshold. That's actually not bad. One more. And we hit dex. This one is very similar to the first one we crafted. Consider like to be a poorly rolled bad luck situation of this craft here. And that's okay though, because this is going to help kind of recoup some of the losses that we experience in pursuit of this one. So if we go to runes, blah, 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 blah. A little bit better than the previous one that we had, but it's still not going to be that great. It'll be worth around 1 or 2 a null. So the total cost to craft both of these are going to be 20x for the 2 prefixes that we did off the recom, 1 homogenizing exalt per base, so 2 total. These are around 130 exalts each. So this is like around 260 exalts plus 40 for the 2 prefixes, so 300 exalts. And then from here, we are going to want to echo rib, the one base that actually went well. This costs around 70x. So 370. For the remainder of the 2 bases, all we do is use, I think, 3 or 4 greater exalts with omens of greater exaltations, which are like 1 or 2x each. So it's like another 20 exalts to finish the suffixes after that. So the total cost would be around like 400 exalts at most for both of these armors. The first armor, which is like the good one, could be sold for around 3 or 5 div. And the second one, which is kind of like a slightly better version than the like beginner level one, could be sold for around like 1 or 2 annuls. So not bad at all, considering we're only spending like a div and a half in order to get both these body armors. Anyways, start to finish, this is exactly how you craft a mid-tier Falconer's Jacket. It's pretty inexpensive to do and quite profitable still to do so. So for our third and final craft, how do we craft giga expensive body armors? So these bases are for 28% quality for a Falconer's Exceptional Jacket. It's only 1 div, maybe 2. After the video gets released, it might go up a little bit. Eye level 79 is perfectly acceptable. I know what you might be thinking.
Eye level 79 exceptional base? Wow.
But eye level 79 base only cost 1 div. For the same item quality for eye level 81, it is going to cost us like 75 div. It's crazy. Instead of looking at 28 quality, if we looked at 3 sockets, it's more or less the same thing. 60 div for eye level 81. And if we go to eye level 82, 3 sockets, they don't even exist. For 28 quality, they don't exist either. Each eye level that you go up is a lot more expensive. And what is the actual benefit of going up? For eye level 79 versus eye level 81, the only benefit is that we now have access to tier 1 deflection and tier 1 chaos. For eye level 82 versus eye level 79, it's the same 2, but now we have access to tier 1 elemental resistances. You might be thinking that like this is meaningless, but actually at the highest ends, people are min-maxing and like they're so rich that they want the best of the best. People would literally be willing to pay like an extra 100 div for these tier 2 rolls to be tier 1. Is it worth it? Probably not, but they have the money to do it and they want to do it, so why not? Anyways, that is why we went with the eye level 79, because the base is only 1 div and the crafting process is a lot cheaper, and the end result is not going to be that much worse than the eye level 81 or eye level 82 body armors. We start with one of these bases. We don't need many, we just really need one. And what you want to do is you want to trans. We didn't hit a good prefix, so we're just going to regal this. Also didn't hit a good prefix there. We're going to null 1 time. And then we are going to send straight chaos orbs until we hit tier 1 of any of the 3 good defensive rolls. As you can see, this is roughly a 3 in 120. So 1 in 40. We're going to spend around a div and a half on average in order to hit one of these rolls, just in Chaos Orbs. Okay, cool. We have tier 1 of this roll. This is the worst one to get. Like I mentioned before, it's just like, this is the easiest one to hit, so we obviously don't want to hit it first. But you're going to need to load up on a lot of homogenizing exalts, a lot of sinistral exaltations, and a lot of greater exalts. So every time we hit one of these, we are then going to greater sinistral exalt and fish for tier 1 of either of the 2 other ones. They're all acceptable. We hit tier 1 hybrid life. That just does nothing for us. It's unacceptable. So we're going to have to annul it. We didn't win the 50-50 on the annul. If we did, we could just send back another one. But now we just have to go back in chaos. Cool. So we have around 10 div of chaos orbs locked in. Let's see what we can get. Okay, awesome. This is flat. This is perfect. What we then want to do is just the same thing. Greater exalt orb, homogenizing, sinistral. Boom. We hit tier 1, tier 1. This is a roughly 1 in 5 chance of happening. We got quite lucky. Every time we hit percentage ESEV, we have a 1 in 5 of getting tier 1. We won the 1 in 5 this time. We got quite lucky. But on average, this will take you around 10 to 12 div on average in just chaos orbs, homogenizing exalts, and annulments in order to hit an armor like this. So there's 2 things you can do from here. The thing I recommend, it's the cheapest way to do this. If this is a profit craft, if you're just trying to craft an exceptional armor for yourself, what I recommend that you do is now we desecrate on the 3rd mod. This is quite likely to hit. I think it's like around a 1 in 4 chance of hitting on an ancient rib. We're definitely gonna take out the echoes. We're definitely gonna take out these omens of light. And also we just need some ribs, some ancient ribs. Awesome. So from here, what we're gonna do is we are going to sinistral necromancy again to guarantee the prefix. We're gonna ancient rib. We're gonna activate our echo, and we are going to essentially just keep on re-rolling until we hit tier 1 hybrid EVES, percentage and flat, or we hit like tier 2 plus spirit. Those are the only really acceptable rolls from this point. This is 29%. Oof, that's close. It's tier 3. So we send it again. Oof, this is the wrong one. So we didn't get what we wanted. That's okay. This part is going to be quite expensive. The first part's also quite expensive. The whole craft is quite expensive. So if you don't like watching currency burn in front of your eyes, don't attempt one of these crafts. Each reroll here is around 5 divine. But the end result is also quite expensive, so it is what it is, right? You got to spend money to make money a lot of times. Awesome. So then we do this. We do this. We whip out the sinistrals. We rip it one more time. And then we send it back. 32%. That is very close again, still tier 3. Every time we hit this evasion, we have a 1 in 3 chance of hitting tier 1. And we missed. We hit tier 3 times already. That's quite unfortunate. Spirit here is an option too, but this is kind of a low roll of spirit. We probably want tier 1, truthfully, in order to settle on spirit. We are going to send it back again. Awesome, 39%. That is perfect. This is tier 1, exactly what we wanted. Now we have triple tier 1 prefixes on our 28% quality Falconer's Jacket. The next part of this craft is quite simple. If you're doing this on like a pure energy shield armor or like a pure armor, body armor, then you don't really care about the suffixes, like the defensive suffixes. They're nice to have, but they're not needed by any means. For EV specifically, deflection rating is almost mandatory on these body armors, or at the very least, it increases the value of the armor significantly. If you don't care about the defensive suffix, that's totally fine. What you just then do is you greater exalt, and then you whittle for resistance, and then you slam a homogeneous perfect exalt. We do care about this, so what we're going to do is a little bit different. We have our perfect prefixes. We want to get deflection rating on. Let's do that first. So the way we do that is by homogenizing exalting on deflection rating. It's a 50-50 to add it. Here you see greater exalts make it so that you have tier 4 or above, and perfect exalts make it so you have tier 2 or above. Since we only have an eye level 79 body armor, perfect exalt makes it so you guarantee tier 2. So it's definitely worth it to use a perfect exalt here. Okay, this is again is a 50-50, so just keep that in mind. If it is acceptable for you to go for a faster shield recharge rate, what you can do is you can just throw on a perfect exalt with a greater exaltation and guarantee tier 2 of both of these rolls. If you are not okay with energy shield recharge, I recommend that you just do this one step at a time. We just roll here and we pray for a deflection. We hit tier 2 deflection. This is absolutely awesome. The next thing we do now is we just perfect exalt, greater exaltation slam, and we pray we hit something good. Okay, so we YOLO'd and we actually did hit something decent. We hit tier 1 int, tier 3 fire res. Now this is eye level 79, so the furthest we can actually go is tier 2 for fire res, and int is actually not bad. So I'm just gonna say totally happy settling on this, considering that there's a lot of bricks that we can hit on the suffixes if we were to whittle. But if we were to hit tier 3 fire res here and then some shitter stat here, what we then do is we want to whittle this final stat until we hit resistances, or we essentially brick the item by hitting like tier 1 ignite duration or something like that. It doesn't brick it, but it just means you can't really roll the whittles any further. This is perfectly acceptable for a finished craft for us. It'll have a lot of really, really nice stats on here. One thing you're gonna wanna check though is how well did we actually roll this? If you see, we actually roll this kind of shit. Like this is bottom like 20th percentile, this is mid, and then this is like min roll everything. We might wanna div this one. So we div it one time, it goes up a little bit, but it's still kind of shit. Everything else is min rolled besides the percentage roll. And this is probably like the furthest we're gonna wanna take it. 1378 EV, 507 energy shield. If we look here, we just go like 1350, 500 with this and then this. You'll see these kind of body armors are selling for around 65, maybe 60 div. If we want to be conservative here, is ours better than this? Ours is actually better than this one. So we can make an argument for us charging a little bit more of a premium on it. But at the same time, 60 or even 55 div is still quite a significant profit. How much does it cost on average to hit something like this? Well, to hit the 2 prefixes on average is going to cost you around 10 div. To hit this third prefix here is going to cost you around, I think, another 10 div, maybe 15 at the most. So 25 div for the prefixes. One homogenizing exalt here with a perfect exalt for the subflexion rating. This is a 50-50. So if you miss here, what you can do is you can whittle and then send it again. So let's just call that 2. So it's 5 div here, and then 5 more div for the perfect exalt with the greater exaltation for the last 2 suffixes. That is another 10 div. So the total cost for this is like 35 div, 40 div at the most. And as you can see, you can sell this quite easily for like 60 div, 55 div at the absolute worst. But that's from a profit craft scenario. If you're just trying to craft your own body armor, this is how you start crafting like the top of the line stuff that has insanely high defenses on exceptional bases, really good stats on the suffixes, triple tier 1 perfect prefixes. Anyways, that's how you craft the exceptional base body armor. Quite expensive to do, but you gotta spend money to make money sometimes. And this is definitely one of those scenarios. All 3 of these methods, as I just showed, are quite easy to do, pretty deterministic, although there are some RNG elements. But as you can see, we profited in both scenarios. This is take 1 out of 1. Let me tell you, I've done this strategy a lot to make a lot of money. I'm not sure if you guys saw that or if I'll include that in the video, but one of the body armors that I was crafting on before actually just sold for 240 div. Is there a way I can actually see what the actual item is? These body armors do sell, although they take a long time to sell at the higher ends. So that's the beginner level, the intermediate level, and the expert level of how you craft body armors in the game. This was Falconer's Jacket, which is the hardest one to craft because it's hybrid ES-EV. You need to guarantee deflection on the higher end crafts. If you want to do a Vile Jacket or a pure armor jacket or a pure EV jacket, it's pretty much just the same thing, but a little bit easier. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this was helpful. I hope you guys like this kind of format. If you do, and you want to see like another item, I can do boots, helmets, gloves, pretty much every single item. I know how to craft that like every single level, so I don't know, whatever like that, I guess the most upvoted comment is will be the one that I do next, and I can do it beginner, intermediate, and advanced as well for the next one. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed the video, please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I hope to see you again in the next one. Yeah.